Anthony Pellegrino founded Ice Insider. He covers the Blackhawks and the Predators. Wanted to get on and talk about those teams, and he joins us today. Anthony, I appreciate the time. How did you find us, brother? What would make you want to come on this program out of all the 2 million that are out there?
Well, I just saw on X, Twitter, through my feed this show, and I was like, this guy seems legit. And I am covering the Predators and the Blackhawks. And when I saw that you cover Florida, I thought, hey, it's nice weather out there, good team. Let's come on and bring the Nashville Predators over to Florida.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I'm excited. So I don't know if the games were on television last night here yesterday, the doubleheader, the Predators and the Panthers, but let's start there and we'll work our way around to Bedard and the Blackhawks. What did you think of Stamkos' debut and this split squad that the Preds iced here in Sunrise on Sunday?
So we were definitely able to see that both these squads were definitely shaky. We could tell that it was indeed the first preseason game. Passes weren't crisp, plays weren't set up fully, and when you do have players that have never played with each other, the first few games of preseason are going to be shaky, and that's why by the second to last in the last preseason games, you'll now have that roster that is your NHL team. But for now, we're able to see guys getting a chance at the NHL, and that's what we saw with this first squad, who was primarily the AHL players and players fighting for a spot on the team that were last week with the junior rookie camp, and we saw a few of those guys make their debuts with the Predators. So it was a showing. We'll start there, and we saw Steven Stamkos in the second game make his debut. He looked good. He got a goal, and it was indeed his one-timer, so we were able to see that debut from his shot, and that is what Nashville Predators fans are anticipating, is that player that on the power play, we have the number one guy now to look to and to set up the power play around. He was on the number one power play in the league with Tampa last season. So now you have the power play from Steven Stamkos. Now it's solidified. You have the Predators' 16th power play last season that can hopefully push them to the top 10. And slowly but surely, you'll see this Predators team become a playoff contender by April. No doubt about it.
Well, there's a notion that the Predators are going to take this big jump from last year to this year. And they did make the playoffs last year. It's not like they got a long ways to go. But with Marchessault there and now Stamkos now, do you see them taking this huge step forward? I mean, Sunday wasn't a good start, but it's preseason, so it doesn't mean anything. Do you see them taking a major step up this year?
Well, that's exactly what GM Barry Trotz wanted to do, is take this next step, because he recognizes the window and the spot that this team is in. You have Roman Josi, the captain, who, blink your eyes, now he's 34 years old. So time is not on their side, and I thought he had two ways this past offseason to go with this. You have the route that teams like Chicago are going with, the 5-year-long rebuild, where maybe guys like Josi, you have to do those hard things and break ties with them. And mutually, now he's on a new team, and now here you are with more draft picks, and you fill in kind of older guys towards the tail end of their career that aren't the caliber of Josi, and guys like Nick Foligno on the Blackhawks. So they could have gone that route and done a 5-year rebuild. Okay, now you got Askarov and net, and obviously that would take time, but that would be a long-term solution, I think. Then you have, after this 5-year-long rebuild, you have the team, the blueprint for success for years to come. Instead, what he does is goes out on July 1st and acquires Steven Stamkos and Jonathan Marchessault. And what this does, he's even said, this is the rebuild. This is the time to win the Stanley Cup, the window, because there is no rebuild for right now. You have Saros, who signed an 8-year extension. So now you got him in net. Even though he is in his 30s, this is going to be your guy. So now you have goaltending set up. You have defensemen. And the offense now, with the new acquisitions of Steven Stamkos, of Jonathan Marchessault, like I said, Roman Josi's 34 years old. Philip Forsberg's now in his 30s. So this is the time to win the next season or two. Ryan O'Reilly, another veteran. Gustav Nyquist. So 5 out of their top 6 right now are over the age of 30. So it's going to be interesting to see if these veterans, and Steven Stamkos has won a Stanley Cup, so he knows what it takes to win. All these guys know the time is now. the fans know, everyone knows that this is the time to win the Stanley Cup, because once these guys in 2 years are starting to retire, you're going to have to back off and look for these draft picks and start drafting guys, because they're going to be retired. And then where do they go from there? That's going to be something that I'm at least interested to see the way Barry Trotz is going to handle this. How does he handle the long-term solution? Because right now he has...
Yeah. I'm just going to throw in a comment here from the audience. Angelo writes that he says, even if your hockey team sucks, be glad you have one. We in Atlanta have lost 2 teams. I root for Winnipeg and Calgary. Just a random viewer comment I'm throwing in there. Anthony,
Well,
I wanted to switch this. I wanted to switch this over to the Chicago Blackhawks, if you don't mind, and tell me why they will not finish dead last in the division this season like they did last.
Well, that's a good point. So now you have an older team. Obviously, the acquisitions over the offseason pointed towards still these filler players, but everyone's a year older. So Philip Kurashev, Connor Bedard, these guys, Alex Vlasic, who we saw in their rookie seasons, and sprout into these players over the next 10 seasons, 10 years, where these guys are going to be the future of the Blackhawks. And we're starting to see that. And Bedard, now a year older, a year stronger. He said the other day that the media has been off him, less interviews over the summer. So he's coming into this season more relaxed. He's not 18. He's obviously still the young star of the NHL, but he's got a year of NHL experience under his belt. He can relax for a minute and focus more on his playing on the ice. And Alex Vlasic is definitely one to watch. Goaltending-wise, Peter Mrazek, who handled the boatload of the season last year, is going to be back. But also they signed Laurent Brossoit from Winnipeg, who Arvid Soderblom last season was the backup, and his showing was quite disappointing, if we'll be honest. Goalie coach Jimmy Waite explained that Arvid Soderblom could be the next Corey Crawford. This was a year ago. Now, he was expected to start the year in Rockford and see what happens from there if he can have a rebound season. However, they go out and get Brossoit. He gets injured, so he's going to be out 5 to 7 weeks, which gives Soderblom another chance. So I feel like this team is starting to find the direction for the future. Foligno's captain, and that was just the other day. So now you have a team geared towards the future. Obviously, that was the goal, and that's why Bedard is on the team. That's why this rebuild even started in the first place. But now you have, okay, this is where we're going to be in 5 years. We're going to be in a playoff spot if everyone keeps developing. Lucas Reichel, if he has a rebound season after last season, and Philip Kurashev. So Teuvo Teravainen, another guy who is expected to play with Philip Kurashev and help him become this young and new fiery prospect to maybe play with Bedard. And these draft picks are now sprouting in college and juniors. And hopefully within the next few seasons, we see this team really start to take shape for the playoffs.
I'm going to throw in a comment here from David in Winnipeg. He writes it. He says, this kid seems pretty young. Sounds just as good doing interviews as other sports reporters that come on here. Top notch. That's from David in Winnipeg. So there you go, Anthony. Where are you at, by the way?
Well, so I play hockey. I'm at Boston Hockey Academy in Boston. So I'm from Nashville, and that's where I spend the off season for now. But I'm here in Boston, just me, and competing for my own spot for hockey. But we'll see where that takes me. But in the meantime, this is also my passion, and we cover the Predators and the Blackhawks. So I find myself often on those long bus rides to games and at school trying to crank out training camp articles right now. And we'll see where this takes me at the end of the season in March. The goal is to go back and cover the Predators tail end of the season, the last 10 games into the playoffs. And I think that's a good goal. And the fans are excited at Ice Insider to see where this goes. But for now, that's where we're at.
I love it. BW in Edmonton writes that he says, well-spoken, Anthony. So whether that's your teachers, your family, bravo, Anthony. I appreciate that. Tell all your friends and teammates about us, and where can people follow Ice Insider?
So we have our website, iceinsider.com. That's where our head is for all our news and interviews. I'm actually releasing our interview with Seth Seth Jones tomorrow, and we had Sasha Boisvert, the Blackhawks' first-round pick, come on last, I think Sunday. No, yeah, something like that. And Jackson Stauber of Utah. So they can access that there, and we're also on Facebook at Ice Insider, and follow me at Twitter at @Pelly50, Anthony Pellegrino. That's where I put most of my breaking news and breaking storylines before they get out on the website.
All right, man. Randy in Winnipeg writes, and he says, this kid is going to do well in the sports media. But before that, he's going to have a great hockey career. You can do both. You can do both, Anthony, and that'll put you ahead of many. Thanks for reaching out, my man, and good luck with your season. Keep in touch.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anthony Pellegrino from Boston Hockey Academy by way of Nashville, the founder and creator of Ice Inside.